right, Mr. John.
Famous actor.
What you been up to this week?
Oh, we're recording?
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking to me?
Yes.
Yes, you're John.
Your name is John.
That hasn't changed.
You don't know that. What have I been doing this week? Started playing
that is
Gears for
indeed the
fun.
question of
Downloaded Blasphemous just for the hell of it.
Hell yeah, Blasphemous is awesome.
100% Spidey.
Oh, nice.
Started The Last of Us on Grounded. Playing a lot of fucking Halo and Overwatch. Some Apex.
So you mentioned Last of Us. I'm gonna cut in real quick, just because someone else I know just played Last of Us. You're Mallory now. I just knew that.
Oh.
But anyways,
And then I don't get to talk for like the entire.
Mallory, we're talking.
excuse me. Adults are talking.
How does it feel?
Anyways,
This is why people think you hate me.
it's a meme.
Gloves
It's
coming
all
off.
for the podcast.
Gloves coming off.
What was I gonna say?
Clearly an
Us.
act
Right,
that
Last
we
of
can
Us.
create
Oh,
our
Someone,
own
is this
narrative.
what I
someone
think
else
it
I
is?
know started playing Last of Us, and I felt bad because they were really enjoying it.
Dog.
And I really wanted to talk about how it's not objectively a good game.
Right.
It's a good story,
Yeah.
Right.
but it doesn't play that great, and the mechanics aren't really anything to like write home about.
Bare bones. is
Yeah,
the
very
best,
bare
yeah.
bones, and that's a thing. But I just left it alone because he's enjoying it. Fuck it, you know what I mean? He's not trying to be the overcritical
Is it his first
journalist or whatever. Yeah, it's his first time.
Oh,
actually.
yeah. You
So
shit on
I
it
just give him a
after.
pass.
Like, yeah,
yeah.
let him
if
go.
if he tries to go, oh, this is a much better game than insert good game here, I'm gonna be like, all right,
You know, it's
actually,
because I was thinking, like, it's hard because the enemies scaled up to notice you more. But
Right.
honestly, it's not that difficult.
That's
the hardest,
not too bad.
The
Once
hardest
you
part
get it.
is the fucking generator. Where
Oh,
all
God.
the
Fuck
infected
that.
are coming at
Yeah,
you.
that's
That's a pain
annoying.
in the ass, and I hate
yeah, that
that
also
shit.
reminds me of fucking Dying Light almost when they're all coming because you're trying to do all the
Yeah, but that's
go
a
around
little
with that. Except,
easier.
well, because you have parkour skills in
Yeah,
Dying Light.
exactly. Like with this, you're just Joel.
Yeah,
strong arming.
you're just Joel Fielding.
Just Joeling it up. Hell yeah.
Yeah, but anyways, go on, sir.
That's just a shit ton of video games, like more so. than
Good.
thought.
I like that because that was the opposite when you were
Yeah, I
actually on the
know,
cast. It's
right?
hilarious. Mr. Josh.
So yeah, I don't know. I guess. Oof. Okay.
You're like this
So on Tuesday, I ended up going back to New Braunfels to play more Yu-Gi-Oh at the small locals event where they had that PPG invitational that I went on during the weekend. Lost a lot, but it was kind of fun.
It's nice that you have the balls
yeah.
to do that. To me, being able to go to a tourney and lose takes a lot of guts because, like, Wooly talks about it when he goes to Evo, and like he does pretty good, but he obviously doesn't go against like Daigo or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes like, but you go there to have fun and you do it. You see as far as you can get. Sometimes it's not far.
Yeah.
Sometimes you end up in loser's bracket. It is what it is, but you have fun.
Mm-hmm.
I'm too much of an asshole to like be able to come to terms that someone's better than me at something. So because of that, it's hard for me to play stuff competitively because I can't lose cleanly.
Yeah.
I either start to play dirty or like I just like get really angry and I just can't handle it. I'm not an adult in that
I
way.
pick a rival. Like as long as they do better than this person, all right, I did all right.
Okay, yeah, that'd probably be healthy for me
Super
to do.
petty, and like I guess it is coping. But
No, but in a way, yeah, I was gonna say that's a smart way to kind of cope with it, though. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, so
Yeah.
Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, so I mean, it's frustrating losing, but I know that I'm.
Do you feel you're learning?
Yeah, and everybody else, like mostly everybody else is.
Did you have a guy trying to Big Brother you this time?
No.
Remember last time that guy you said that was?
Oh, yeah. So I actually played against him again last night, but I had a much more positive experience playing.
Okay.
So
he didn't get it like
Yeah,
on your ass as much.
yeah, so there was some good stuff with that. I'll get to that in a bit.
But, yeah.
Over at New Braunfels, I mean, it was fine. I played against one guy again, the guy that I actually got one win off at the PPG tournament. He was playing a different deck, and
for those who
he
don't know,
was learning
PPG
that. Pro Play Games.
Okay.
Yeah. So he was playing a different deck. He wasn't playing Heroes. He was playing Endymion Pendulums this time, which I somewhat have an idea of the deck because I run Pendulums too. But I didn't target certain things that I should have. But that one, I think that one ended with me. It was either a win or a draw. I forget. I'm pretty sure I won though.
How does one draw, by the way? I'm actually curious about that.
Usually, if it goes to time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like no one's winning.
Yeah, 40.
by the same
There's
time?
40 minutes on the clock.
Okay.
So I think he.
Jeez.
Yeah, I think he got game 1 on me, And then
when you're
game
playing,
2,
I'd assume that 40 minutes. It sounds like a lot to me,
yeah,
but I'm assuming in game that's
oh,
not.
it can go by fast. Yeah. So he won game 1. I got game 2.
Okay, for sure. So for sure, you guys split it at least.
Yeah, he did a really big misplay.
Do you get like a rush when you see them fucking up?
Fuck yeah.
I mean, sometimes only because like it's funny, but I know the guy is learning like I am,
Okay.
so
So you're not seeing it like from a predator standpoint,
right?
Like, I'm gonna get him.
Well,
Yeah.
why you gotta say predator, man? Okay.
Yeah, so what it is?
Party's not on here.
So pendulums, a lot of the cards are spellcasters, but they have a really powerful monster that is it's not a spellcaster, it's a psychic. But he played a spell called Village of the Spellcasters, which, if you control a spellcaster monster, your opponent cannot activate any spell cards, which would really shut me down for some points. So, but what he did was he ended up using his spellcasters to summon out a psychic, and he's like, oh, I just fucked myself. And pendulums, they count as spells, so he couldn't continue his plays anymore. So I was like, cool, I'm just gonna go ahead and combo off on my next turn. So yeah, I won game 2, and I can't remember if I won game 3.
And anyone hears the beeping in the background, no one's getting the fucking microwave for some reason, so that's what that is, just so
Cool.
the people listening knows. Apparently someone's too lazy to get the fucking microwave. But anyways, go on.
No, that's
Yeah,
overrated.
Jesus, wow.
Yeah. But overall, I had a good time.
Changes were coming, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'll get to that in a slight bit.
Oh god.
Went to locals last night
There we go.
because the ban list came on Friday, which shook everybody. So I got to spend one final weekend playing my deck because my deck got hit. But yeah, I played that one guy again. It was a much better experience. There were a few instances where I kind of questioned some ruling issues. But at the end of the game, I actually got a game off of him too.
Nice.
I was able to negate a lot of his shit, and then he eventually just scooped. Yeah, but then the third game, he just overpowered me and I lost.
Happens.
Yeah, but I asked him for feedback, and he was just like, you probably should have targeted this instead of this, and then just, compared to last week when we played, you're playing your hand a lot better than before. So,
That's cool, man. At least he was like conscientious, congenial.
Kind of, yeah, right. A bit. Yeah, he's I don't know. He might be one of those people that, like, to everybody else comes off as a prick, but he himself kind of justifies it as like tough love or something. But whatever, I try not to focus too much.
I
on
only
that.
hit him because I love him.
Yeah,
Right,
I was just like, look, I'm just gonna play the game. I'll ask questions. He gave me some answers. Cool. Had an overall positive experience.
Good.
Yeah, but that ban list though, fucking
fuck this ban list.
I
just pulled it up.
Time to
Damn it.
rethink
yeah.
your lives.
No, every single
Yanagarasu is banned?
Huh?
No, I'm
Oh, Jesus Christ. So Konami pretty much
Fuck
is...
Konami.
Fuck Konami.
They're
Jesus.
pretty much trying to reset, like, do a meta cleanse, essentially. Like, every single
but every time
meta
you do
deck
that,
got
someone
hit.
just finds a whole new way around it. And
It's gonna
stupid.
happen. Yeah, like, one of the most powerful decks was called Orcust, and all they did
Harp
was...
Horror got fucking banned.
Yeah, they just
Damn it.
banned Harp Horror, but the thing is that they can still combo off. They just have to kind of go a slightly different route.
Exactly.
Excuse me, and they're just going to get more support later on, so it's whatever.
Just add extra steps. I'm gonna get it. You're selling your card game, but
Yeah.
whatever.
My deck, there's an Xyz monster in there that got hit, so it really hits the consistency.
That was a funny ass vid. That was nice.
Yeah, I made a little meme videos on my Twitter.
Oh yeah, we can link that below.
Yeah,
I'll
and
put that in the notes.
well, no need, because I also added it to a new video series I started doing.
Oh, there you go.
Ooh, shameless
Well,
plugs. Let's do
yeah,
it.
we'll link that. Well, no, and that's what I was telling. Okay, so that's what I was telling Josh and Mallory behind the scenes is like when they start. Well, you start getting your videos out, and Josh has been like getting it. Is like I do want to start plugging everything because the whole disconnected thing is for all of us, not just supposed to be my co-things.
Yeah.
And you already knew that because you were already. I was already trying to plug your stuff
I
whenever.
already started doing music again, actually.
Good.
Nice.
And I'm writing a book.
There you go.
Cool.
That's exciting.
Oh yeah?
So yeah.
Let's talk.
So yeah, ban list was hit. Everybody's shooketh. I was literally exhausted on Friday from all the talk from it. And going into the next subject, there is a video series that I've kind of started. When I made the first episode, I wasn't certain if I was going to continue, But I just uploaded a second episode of it.
Good.
So,
is there a schedule yet, or is it not going to be that?
Yeah, no
consistent yet?
schedule.
Okay.
No schedule. So the premise of it is, in the first video, I do cover the deck that I'm playing, and then I try to go over from my memory the matches that I played while I was at the tournament in New Braunfels, and then when I played locals in town that night, and then also at New Braunfels on Tuesday when I went back. Then the second video, I pretty much talked about what I did at locals this past weekend. And I also carried a notebook with me, so I was just writing down notes on things that I should have done, mistakes that I made, shit like that. So that's pretty much the premise of it. So 2 episodes are out by the time that this will come out. So
Good.
yeah,
That's
that'll,
dope, man.
yeah, that'll be on my channel.
Obviously, when we do our plugs, you guys will be able to find Josh's stuff there.
Yep.
So there we go.
Yeah,
Anything
and
else?
I mean, I shared it on some Discord, Yu-Gi-Oh! Discords. I got fairly good feedback so
Good.
far. Aside from Yu-Gi-Oh! Bullshit, I played some Switch. I played a little bit of River City Girls.
Hell
really
yeah,
fun
yeah.
game.
I love that game.
The music's
Well, I just
great.
It's amazing.
It actually kind of reminds me of like, almost like the Scott Pilgrim game a little
A little
bit.
bit. I can see that.
But I think probably a lot better.
I was going to say, but better.
Yeah, so it kind of reminds me of that, so that's cool. And I finally finished my first playthrough of Fire Emblem 3 Houses.
Ah,
And so-
nice.
yeah, so I'm starting the
Is
second.
Dink happy that you did it now?
I don't think he's responded.
Oh, okay. No,
But-
I just say, because I remember when he was like talking about,
Yeah.
I think he'd already played through it a few times when he was talking to us.
He's doing his own maddening run right now,
Okay.
so anybody curious can go to his channel and watch
Yeah.
it. Previous guest,
Yep,
obviously.
old mate.
But yeah, starting the second save file on that. So I'm joining the other houses because they announced new DLC. So I gotta get ready.
There you go.
But yeah, I think that pretty much wraps up my week. I don't think there was anything else that I can remember.
Mallory?
I spent a lot of time trying to record the intro to my ghost hunting video. Deleted a bunch of videos because I'm trying to get used to my face.
It's hard. It's kind of like when you first get your voice and you start doing voice stuff. Like, I mean, the only reason that's so easy for me to do is just because, when it comes to I just doing music for a while, and so you hear your voice a lot then, and of course singing voice and talking voice is different. And then of course, this year's going to be the 10th anniversary of my gaming stuff, so 10 years will obviously break you in eventually on that. So it's just doing it for a while. That's all it is. As far as appearing on camera, it's always hard to get used to that. 1, because I don't do it consistently enough. And then 2, it depends on the context. If I'm doing skits or something, or if I'm doing appearing on video, doing something, that's
Easier,
fine.
yeah.
But if it's like, for example, the reason I always try it every once in a while, but the reason I don't do face cam on video game videos is I don't feel I contribute enough. I feel like that is a hole of nothing that's detracting from the game.
Like you have to put
Because I don't get
much effort in.
You do, because you got to start playing it up with the camera. I mean, you obviously have people who are notorious for doing stuff like that, where one would argue they play up for the camera, maybe even more than what they're doing, which is like Markiplier, PewDiePie, and Jacksepticeye, are all people who are known for maybe putting more into the face cam than they do even the game. And that's what they do. It's what they find the entertainment factor on. I don't feel I can do that because I'm too into playing the game. Because when I do play a game, I'd like to do it properly. So to pay attention to the face cam so much, it just ends up being a thing where like the face cam is literally just me like with my mouth agape, like getting into the game, and it just looks weird. The only time I do always have a face cam and I don't mind it is when I'm streaming. Primarily because I feel when I'm streaming, that is more of a personal connection. They are seeing it more real time. And my series videos are more overly produced, so because of that, I feel that there is no point in me actually being there as a character. I see myself as more of the narrator, and because of that, whatever. But so it's good to see that you're kind of learning all that stuff, because my whole point from hijacking her segment is that it's hard to get used to yourself.
Especially because I've been behind. Like I don't go in front of the camera.
Especially with this,
often.
it's just your voice.
Yeah, but even like on most social medias, I don't post a lot of selfies unless I'm like in the middle of doing something, and then I can kind of justify it.
Right.
So it's getting used to seeing myself like talking to people and trying to explain like what the video is about, which is really hard. And I've probably deleted like probably most of it. And then I also like overthink and like nitpick myself a lot. So it's like, you looked weird in that point because you're like, I don't know. So I mean, now I back up all my videos. That way I can go back in and just like cut out like stuff.
Yeah.
But the first video I made, I literally deleted the whole thing and was like, well, that's terrible. And I spent like 3 hours trying to like edit videos and stuff. So I'm really just playing around with the software right now, which I find really fun.
Video editing is such a long process.
Yeah, it is. Especially if you do the thing. It already takes enough time to trim down to what you're trying to get to. But what takes even longer is if you do a lot of post-production stuff. Like, a lot of my stuff has overlays and cut-ins and all sorts of other stuff that's going on. So it's one of those things where you'll learn gradually that it does take a while. And I think that's... And we've had this conversation before of, like, how a lot of people... Content creator and people who do it for a living is still a new thing still, relatively, in the sense that people don't see it as a real job still. The way that at one point back in the day, people didn't see movies. Like, you heard, like, critics from, like, back when film was a very new thing, of, like, it's this stupid, petty... It's kind of like video games are still kind of seen as a childish medium, whereas, as I mentioned, like, so many episodes, it's, like, higher grossing than even movies in terms of like this huge scale production of entertainment and medium of entertainment. It like, you know, Red Dead Redemption like pretty much was keeping pace with Avengers. Like it's like showing you how big of a deal games are, that this huge thing that everyone makes this hurrah, like, oh my god, like, you know, the Marvel Cinematic Universe is this expensive fucking thing, and it is.
Yeah.
But the fact that just the game is able to keep up with it financially is crazy. Like, it's a crazy thing.
Yeah.
So
it's that, and then I went to PAX this weekend.
No, yeah, you were the only one who wasn't a coward and didn't back up. John never committed. We said we were going to, and then we didn't.
Like,
and then
we had
Mallory
Saturday.
I stared at my bank account and I was like, oof.
I actually ended up going to a party on Friday at PAX.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
I thought about still going to one of the after parties.
you.
But
I got invited. My friend was like, come out. And I was like, no, I'm tired.
Fuck you.
And she showed up at my door.
Okay.
Alright, cool.
I don't know, well, whatever.
So yeah, I went to PAX. I walked around it's so much smaller than it used to be. I didn't go the first year, but I went the second year.
And then mine was the opposite. I went the first year, never again.
And it was
You only
a lot
went
of
the
fun.
first year?
Like,
I went to the good one.
It's like, oh, that's what I know.
Hey, it was good when I went.
Like,
Capcom had a big ass fucking presence there. It's definitely gotten gradually worse as it goes along, is what I've heard.
Like, I'm
Because
surprised
people who've
it's
gone to every
still
single
going
one
on.
has said that the first one's still the best one. So.
That's what I'm like, PAX is still a thing, really?
Which is sad. I don't want it to go away. I want it to get better.
But it
Yeah.
feels like it's
Because
on
I feel
that
like
slow
when
decline.
people see, but what I wonder though is financially, has it been a decline, or is it still growing in terms of attendance?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure. Like, I didn't get to hit up this one, but I went, I think,
The last few years,
yeah, the
right?
last couple of years I went straight through.
At the
and-
eBay
You did the last two.
Oh,
right?
God, yeah. I mean...
The what?
The fucking eBay booth. Okay, so the only advice I can give is
it's the only party went.
you have to look at the schedule. You have to go to panels that interest you.
That's what John and I did for RTX. I planned out our whole day,
Yep.
and I sat down and I said, "This panel's cool. This panel's also cool, but happens at the same time. Scratch that one out. We're going to this one." You really have to, because if you don't, you won't have as much fun, because you're gonna waste half your day missing stuff and then trying to find out what's left to do.
Right, because if you only spend I just want to get it real quick. If you spend your time doing nothing but exploring the expo hall, you're gonna get bored. I'm sorry. Go on.
I just spent all my time in
Hurry
artist.
up.
God damn it.
Yes,
I will never
Mallory,
get to
you
talk.
had to talk.
Hello.
Right? Okay.
Okay.
Speak up. I can't hear you.
From the person who did go to PAX this year, please
Yeah.
speak.
Yeah, talk to us about PAX.
Thank
Tell
you
us.
for your piece.
Oh my god. We'll never get...
I'm never gonna get to talk.
So, ladies and
Just keep
gentlemen,
speaking.
this is...
Speak over everybody.
So I went to PAX. I went
Yas,
and
queen.
explored-
Good story.
So
Spring story of
there
Earth.
weren't so many panels panels that I got to see or was interested in. And I think that's where they're lacking right now, is that they don't book enough panels.
And you went on Friday and Saturday, right?
I went on Friday. I didn't get
Well,
to
I wouldn't
go-
say it's not enough panels, though. Wouldn't you say it's more...
So even looking through the panel list, like trying to make a schedule of panels that I wanted to see, there just weren't that many.
Okay.
I
that
did
actually-
suggest one.
I know.
Yeah. I suggested one.
Yeah,
I know,
shat
but
on it.
we were already moving into like a
Yeah.
whole other thing that we were doing.
Alright.
But I mean, I still really love going to PAX every year. I've been going since the second year it opened.
That's good. You've had probably, I think, the most experience out of all of us,
Yeah.
then followed by Josh, and then I don't know how many
I
times
mean,
you've
I
gone.
really miss
Twice, then.
the actual
three.
big
Three.
like Twitch booth, and like we have Mixer, but at the same time, it's not the same. Like I remember
Mixer.
the first year I went, there was this big like Twitch booth, and you got to meet like Twitch streamers and all of
Yeah.
Did you meet Ninja?
Twitch streamer.
that.
I will. Oh man. Oh, go on. I want
It
to
just,
Go,
go.
go,
it
go,
just seems
go.
like it's getting smaller and smaller every year. I know this is the smallest one.
Yeah.
Oh my god, stop.
That's what
I
she
know
said.
this is the smallest one out of all of them.
Stop making this about sex, Mallory.
I know,
my
jeez.
God.
Go!
Come on.
There are
You have
virgins
to push
listening.
through.
Y'all need to
This is how you do it. You gotta push through.
But
We're
so
hecklers,
there's still a
essentially.
lot of interesting things. Like I love
not
to
about
see
the
the
size of the
cosplayers.
con, it's how
I love
you
to
use
see
it.
the cosplayers because they are awesome. I love like getting to go to the after parties and actually get to meet. Like we went to the Bonham afterwards, and there's a bunch of indie gamers upstairs.
Was that the Houston Gamers event or that you went to at the bottom?
It might have been.
You didn't even know what you went to?
Yeah,
Alright.
I don't even know. My
You know
friend,
what?
My friend
my
told me
God.
that this is where we're going, and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Because I mean, he paid for the cover and everything.
Did he?
He did. But so we went and we got to explore the upstairs, which was nothing but indie gamers, and that was cool. I got to play a game where you get to pet dogs in an airport. It's probably my favorite game I got to test out. We also played a bunch of board games, which I love seeing at PAX because you don't get to see a lot. Like I don't go to like other board game places. So I got to see some new indie board games that were awesome. There's an Alice in Wonderland that's on Kickstarter. I'll get you the link. It's actually really interesting. It's a bag game where you get like, you guys have to go around the tea party table, and you collect tokens, and then you put them into a bag, and then you battle each other.
Cool.
And it's
You don't-
really
so
fun.
you don't dump it into the harbor.
No. So it was really fun. I of course didn't play the game like everybody else. They were all putting their chips like in like different areas, and I put all my chips in one area. I was like, "This is what I'm gonna dominate. That's what I want." And I didn't win, but I mean it was really fun. I'm gonna definitely invest in that game because it was really cool. And then I don't really do anything else. I'm getting ready for a new job.
Well, because
so-
that's already up to yesterday, basically. So,
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I'm getting ready for a new job. and
Well, it's
that's
good
it.
that you still tried to make the best of it.
Yeah.
I really
How was your
want
week?
to go to RTX with you guys. Like, actually plan for that if you can. Because John and I had a lot of fun, and we just went on one day. I would be down for just doing one day again, so that we
When
just go
is
up to Austin and back. July.
Let's
Okay.
It's like
do,
July
2
2nd,
days.
3rd, and 4th, I believe, or something like that. 4th of July
Do we
weekend.
just want to do like?
So we could probably
No,
just do
let's
Saturday.
do 2. No, let's
You wanna
do
do
2
2 days?
days. Get
Stay
a
a night?
room and do like a whole fucking cast.
You want to do that? That'd be kind of cool.
That'd be cool.
We could do, we could do a little in between. We could do like Friday and Saturday,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and then we could do like a little hotel cast in between. I can bring the equipment, and then we can do hotel cast, and then we can do the next day, and then do our regular like wrap up, and then I can merge them together. Yeah,
I
that'd be kinda
can
cool.
wear a cowboy hat and hump someone in a chair.
Goddamn.
I really hate the fact that someone not stole. Why the fuck would I say that? That someone did the same idea I wanted to do, which was give Wooly and Pat the cowboy hats.
Yeah.
But someone actually did it.
I mean,
But
the
the cool
cowboy
thing
hats
is,
that
though,
they're wearing in
I
that
know.
Yeah.
picture.
The cool thing is, though, those are like actually like nice cowboy hats. Like
Those
they
are
were actually from the
Stetsons.
old whatever store.
They're
That,
like
Well, we can just put
Stetsons.
Yeah,
our
so-
disconnected cast logo on there.
oh, that'd be
Yeah.
cool.
And
Should
get,
we have
like-
swag?
I'll just wear a
feel
wear a
like we should
cap
have
with
swag, but
Sharpie
just, like, throw it at
disconnected.
people.
I'm okay with that. That's good marketing.
Right?
And then of
So
course
you
I
should-
But it's
do
not like
also.
they can say no.
I also do want to. So I do want to go. That's a really good
The
idea.
Harvey
If,
Weinstein method.
if you guys are actually cool with doing that
terrible.
plan, then we
So
could actually
am I.
do that. I'm cool with that, honestly. As long as
I'm
we all
super down.
commit to it and we don't pull a pack,
I'm
where only
super
one of us
Dave
goes.
Right? Like,
We could do that. So we'll do that. We could do like the little meme video I like to do. Like I like to try to film a meme at every con. I didn't do it at this one because we only had one day to try to catch them. They'll probably be there again, which would be really cool. Especially if we do film like a meme music video like I like to do and have them dance for a second in there. That'd be really cool.
Should we discuss this on the cast while we're recording or wait till after?
Wait, what?
We'll probably cut
That's a
this
good
part
point.
out.
I have a lot of editing to do because that whole
I know,
that
that's
whole
what I was
intro
thinking.
segment's a fucking mess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to be really. Thank God I'm off tomorrow because that's a lot of shit I have to
Actually,
do.
because we just went over this topic almost like 10 minutes here. So
Yeah, I know.
all right. So
Okay, yeah,
anyway,
good
so
point.
daily
yeah,
intro,
this is like
weekly
26
intro
minutes.
recaps.
Yeah.
We're still alive.
Yeah,
so
no,
it's
I'll cut
Patrick's
that.
recap.
Right. So
So what did you do this week, Patrick? Since we
So
last
this
saw you.
week, I'm gonna keep it short since everyone banged on about bullshit for a
I mean,
while.
people interrupted mine.
I finally got to a game I've been wanting to play, Yaga, which I believe is also on PS4, maybe Xbone, but for sure I'm playing it on Switch and it is on PC, I believe. It's a really cool. So it takes a lot of. I don't want to be insensitive to what region it takes place in. It's some European, like Eastern European region. I don't know exactly where. But
Yugoslavia.
the game's called Yaga, and then
It makes me
you
think
have
of
the
Baba
Yaga in
yeah.
there. So I'm trying to. Baba Yaga is actually a character in there, so I'm trying to think
it's
of.
John-
Croatia,
it's just John Wick.
Russian,
It's just John Wick.
Slovenia, shit like that.
Okay, yeah. So you're kind of like, but you're in medieval times, and
The
you play as
Balkans.
this cool, basically, and you play as this blacksmith who. The main mechanic that makes it interesting. It's a role playing game with action mechanics. You have 2 attacks. You have a regular swing, and then you also have a little like Thor throw your hammer and have it come back type of deal, which is really cool. And the blacksmith's hammer is your main thing because you are a blacksmith. You lose your arm at the very beginning. It's part of the narrative. You don't even ever get to play as the blacksmith when he has both arms. Basically he has a curse put upon him, and the king is told that this blacksmith is hella cursed. You need him away from the village. Period. But the king also didn't want to like piss off the cursed one, obviously. So he tells you need to go do this bullshit task that I don't want to spoil. It's not really a big spoiler. It's the first mission you get, but he tells you to do this task basically as a fucking bullshit errand boy task to send you away. And you're not supposed to come back,
Right.
and then you kind of accomplish it, and he's kind of like, well,
this is awkward.
Yeah, exactly. And it goes on from there. It's very interesting. So you have a stamina gauge. As long as the stamina gauge, which kind of works, it's almost like in your RPGs where actions do obviously use stamina. It also doubles as your shield, like your Halo shield. If your stamina's up, that's what takes damage, and your health won't get hit yet. When your stamina's depleted, then your health starts to go down, and that doesn't just auto-regen. You have to use potions to get it back up, or bread in this case. Which is really interesting to see it be a stamina/shield bar. It's almost like the shield from Halo, if doing actions in Halo also could take from it, which is interesting. And then on top of that, you're also trying to manage, because the whole thing is based on luck, like the whole narrative is your bad luck, you're also trying to manage that. Because using blessings or magic increases your bad luck. And when that gets too high, this like demon thing comes and fucks up all your gear and everything. So there's all these interesting mechanics. I'll tell you, so it takes your typical RPG in said European thing that could sound like a generic game, and then adds things like the bad luck mechanic and stuff like that, because you got to balance that. You're like, I could really use this blessing, it will be so useful in this battle, especially if I go against the boss, but my bad luck will go up, and if I lose my gear, that'll be even fucking more tragic. So I'm gonna make this level tougher to, you know what I mean? And then when you go out on missions and stuff like that, you get to choose the conditions of when you're going out. Oh, and everything rhymes too. Everything's like written like a poem style. So all the lines rhyme and everything. It's really cute and everything in that sense. And it's got a really cool, like, rustic European, even Eastern European aesthetic to it. And, like, the beasts and everything, like the talking trees. Like, it's just all this really cool, like, stuff. And they do a cool job. But what they do to keep it fresh is, like, the soundtrack is a mix. It's like gypsy hip-hop. So like you got like these stringed, like, very eerie sounding gypsy things, but with like a hip hop drum beat in the background, kind of like that is dynamic to the combat. So when your combat starts, it kind of has a cool battle theme and everything. There's a boss theme.
Eastern
it's
European
really interesting.
chill hop.
Basically, it's kind of like that, and the soundtrack is really addicting.
I believe they call it Jip Hop.
Jip hop. There you go. I hope that's not a
that
racial
PC?
thing.
I was like, is that PC? Can we say that?
But if it's not, then that's fine. And then, so basically, when you go out to do each mission, because you kind of like, the town is like your hub, it's your citadel or whatever.
Yeah.
When you go head out, these witches and Baba Yaga are always watching your fate, because that's like the main thing, you know. Baba Yaga has a lot to do with your fate, and then there's these 3 witches that advise her.
Yeah.
And so when you go out, you get to choose the conditions of the the dungeon you're about to do. So it'll say, do you go in the middle of the night where it'll be harder to see but your enemies are weaker, or do you want to go during the afternoon where the enemies will be normal health but you'll move a little bit faster, or do you want to go in the morning where your health will be up? I'm just making up these conditions but just to give you an idea.
Okay.
Or do you want to go during the morning where your health will be up but the enemies will be stronger? Like, you know what I mean? And then you get to choose on that. And it's just really awesome. Like, the whole aesthetic, making it a little bit modern with a little hip-hop thing, as well as a very cool, cartoony vibes mixed together. All around great package. Like, $25, absolutely worth it. Just came out at the end of last year on Switch. I believe earlier last year for everything else. But again, on PS4 and everything, so definitely worth checking out. The only thing I'll give it on Switch, and I would have to say this is probably a Switch exclusive problem, is there's a bit of slowdown sometimes. Like, I'll be in the middle of a battle and it'll hiccup, and then like the frame will skip, and that can be detrimental sometimes. As you can imagine, frame skipping in a game is probably not good, obviously. Mm-hmm. So yeah, when it gets a little too busy, if there's like 5 enemies attacking you at the same time, and then like I'll swing and then it'll like second to pause and then move on, and then I'll be across the map already. I'm like, uh-oh, that could have been really bad for me. That's the other thing I'll say. I think it's a Switch problem with RAM and everything, because the game runs really smooth. Other than that, it's running like at a very smooth 60 frames. Looks really cool. But again, that's the only flaw so far, is just that hiccup. But other than that, the challenge is nice. It's a good mix of everything. There's a crafting mechanic, and then there's 2 types of currencies. You have Copex, which may be a real currency, I don't know, but your little gold doubloons or whatever. And then you have that, and then you also have your little bones and animal. You collect like animal remains and stuff like that. And you can only buy certain things, usually magic related, with the bones and stuff as currency. Or then you buy regular items like your ore and stuff you craft with the regular money. So when you're buying magic bullshit, you use body parts and shit like that, because you can imagine that's what they're using. And when you're buying more tangible stuff, you're using gold. So that's really cool. And then, of course, I went back to play a little bit of one of my, probably, I would say, for the last 6 years, I've been claiming is my favorite platform character of all time. Even above Shovel Knight, which I really hate to say because Shovel Knight I love. Shantae, obviously. I've been playing Shantae ever since the 3DS. I got the ports on that. Bought him again on Wii U.
Yeah.
Buying him again on Switch like I always do, so now I own 3 generations of the same fucking games. No,
that's cool, because Shantae deserves more love.
Shantae does, and it's why I do like the fact that her and Shovel Knight are both in Indivisible, as well as Zubaz, which is really cool. Mm-hmm. They all make cameos in there, and it's nice to see her get more love, because, you know, everyone does talk about your Super Marios and you have everything like that, but Shantae's really cool. I've always loved her character design, but on top of that, I also really love her story, is the fact that she's half human, half genie. It's just, as far as I know, not a character type I've heard before myself in a personal sense of narrative until Shantae. So it's really cool. Yeah. And every game is, again, I love games with a fair level of difficulty where it's a challenge but doesn't feel like bullshit. Again, Cuphead. Again, a lot of people always hate the fact that I shit talk Cuphead, but I don't think it's a fair, fun difficulty to that. I feel it's difficulty for difficulty's sake. And not necessarily, I don't feel rewarded. When I finally beat the first fucking boss of Cuphead and I never played it again after that, I didn't feel like I wanted to play more. I felt exhausted. I felt exasperated. I'm not done with the fucking game.
Good at that game.
The music is fantastic. The visuals are great.
Oh my gosh.
But the game is bullshit. And I don't think it's fun challenge.
Yeah, from an outsider's perspective, because I haven't
I like it,
but
Cuphead. I don't love it. It's a shitty hard game.
Yeah.
It's shitty because it's hard.
Like again, I haven't played it, but I do feel like Cuphead should be praised more for the soundtrack and the visuals rather than the BS difficulty.
Yeah, I love you guys. We're drinking while we're doing the cast. Next time.
Yeah. So I think when people try to praise it for its difficulty, I kind of feel like it's a bunch of tryhards.
Exactly. That's what it is. Cuphead. And that's the thing is with Cuphead. the thing I feel about it is the fact that
Oh man,
I'm not good at Dark Souls, right?
Yeah.
But I can have fun with the Dark Souls games, and I feel I feel driven to try to beat it. With Cuphead, I just go, I beat this. Fuck this. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you shouldn't leave with that.
Cuphead felt like that arcade game where it's like, I know I can fucking get this. Just a few
just-
more quarters.
just put
a
a-
few
yeah.
more quarters, and I got this.
I was gonna say, dude, your fucking comment just like opened up a revelation in my head. Like, what if it was made by like fucking game creators that have like this weird gamer cuckold fetish that like just get turned off by like not being able to fucking complete a game? They're just like,
maybe.
oh my god, oh my god, I'm so fucking bad at this game.
I know that.
I'm so bad. I'm the
Yeah.
worst.
Oh,
Punish
oh,
me, Cuphead.
oh man, my girlfriend's watching me be a gamer and I'm failing. Oh my god. Oh.
When it comes to platformers, my favorite character of all time, especially like, you know, next to Shovel Knight, which it's been so cool. Like I said, the whole complete treasure trove is out now, and again, if you've had it since the beginning, you got all the updates with it and everything. And I love the fact that they rewarded the OGs like that. That's why I rebought it twice, because even though I was getting all the free shit on it on the Wii U and the 3DS, I still wanted to get it on Xbox, and I got it on Switch, and I actually think I got it on PS4 also. So that many times, but they deserve it all because of the support they gave it. Like the fact that they ended it with a cool Smash-like and a card game. It's just like, holy shit, like it's cool that there's all these types of games in there. Not to mention a very solid main campaign with 3 badass expansions where you got to play as like the Plague Doctor and like you got to try all the different game types, which is awesome. It's also, speaking of which, I also really like Hollow Knight is a great game.
Yeah,
and that character has been creeping on the list. That may actually, again, it's so hard to choose because all these indie platformer Metroidvania type games have created better characters than any AAA industry character I can think of outside of like the iconic Sonic and Mario being like the original badass mascots, and even stuff like Crash and Spyro when you go to the next generation. I feel like this generation is the strongest when it comes to like Shantae, Shovel Knight, and Hollow Knight, which I would say are the top 3.
Yeah.
And if you end up liking Hollow Knight, which I think you will, especially if you're into Metroidvania style games, Silk Song will be dropping later this year, and that is going to be the sequel to it, which is just, one of the characters in the game you get to play as, other characters you get to play as. So it's really cool. Those guys are totally killing it. And these, again, that's why most of the games I play are indie games. It's not to be this like hipster of trying to find the next best thing, even though that's just a byproduct of it. I have so much more fun playing these indie games, even stuff like from Focus Home Interactive, like Call of Cthulhu and Sinking City, than I do playing that next Call of Duty, that fucking half-baked Kakarot RPG game that came out, which I've heard is the most mediocre shit ever.
So,
I've heard it's like fine, but that's the problem. It's like you want to be hyped.
It's like you're saying how Last of Us is a great narrative, but the gameplay is pretty shit.
Absolutely lacking, yeah.
That's why, like, I've been playing a lot of indie games. I was playing Edith Finch this morning. And it's a great story, it's a great narrative, but the gameplay doesn't rely too heavily on that.
Yeah, Edith Finch is another case of that. You're absolutely right.
Doesn't ask for anything more than
Everybody's Gone to Rapture, another case of fucking would have been a better book or some shit like that, because the game is fucking boring.
No, would have been a better book? Fucking Death Stranding.
Oh god. Well, no, I don't want to argue with you on there. I could go there because I'm a Death Stranding sympathizer, but what I will say also is We Happy Few is another big disappointment of like would have been great, but it was the brokenest piece of shit ever. Like I don't know if they fixed it since then. But I played it at launch on fucking Xbone, or in early access as well. Yeah, that shit sucks.
So it's on my list.
Straight up, like
it's on my Game Pass. You know,
it sucks. I was excited for that game. You can look at my old Facebook post. I was hyping that bullshit up. And when it came out, I was sorely disappointed.
It looked so promising.
It did. And it's a cool concept.
Yeah.
But the problem is it's broken. Not it's okay, not it's mediocre. I'm talking like the mechanics itself just stop working. Take this happy pill to keep everyone off your back.
Yeah.
Oh, the pills just stopped working for me, and everyone was still getting mad at me, even though I was sane or crazy.
Like
whatever
broken,
you
like
call
a David Cage game, or like
no broken. Like David Cage, actually, games are like a little more polished than that. I'm talking like walking through walls, people falling through the ground, like shit like that. You know what I mean? Like again, a biggest problem was people just glitching out where. I was on fucking, what the fuck is the drug called? I forgot what the fuck it's called, because who gives a fuck about that game? But, basically, now Skoom's in
I know.
Anyways, whatever it is, Joy, there you go, that's the name of it. So, I was taking my Joy because, again, when you're getting more sane, they start going after you because they don't like that. But when the mechanic is that's one of the main mechanics, and it just stops working. Where like, even though you're supposed to be, inconspicuous, then everyone just hates you anyways, because the game fucking broke. Jim Sterling's in the game. I should be happy, but fuck that game. It's
really?
Yeah.
I'm gonna play it tonight and let you know.
Let me know what you think. See, or if it got any better, but it was broken on an actual functional fucked up level.
I'll give it an hour.
There you go. All right, so real quick before the channel plugs, want to give a shout out to Mr. EyeQ, who was at PAX. We unfortunately didn't get to see him. I did tell him our bad that we didn't get to see him while he was in town, but hopefully we'll get to see him. He's in Austin a lot, so hopefully we'll get to see him then. But his EP that we were talking about him when he was on here, the Anita Baker one, Triple L, does drop on the 26th. So you gotta go check that out. It's gonna actually be on Anita Baker's birthday, so cool release date to have for that. It's gonna be the first in a series of those.
You need to send me his email because I have something I need to send him.
Cool. Yeah, no problem. I'll hit you up with that.
It's the Baker Star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Oh, nice.
I
Cool.
took a picture just because of him.
He'll love that.
So,
No, yeah. So cool.
Sure
So shouts out to EyeQ. Check that out. Everybody pick it up on the 26th when it does drop. Again, disconnected fam forever since he was on here, so we've got to take care of him. All right, so before we get into the gaming news, let us see what's going on. Where can everybody find you on the internet, Mr. John?
Just Evil Dead Guy, @ or _, and there you go.
Yep, there you go, on most places. Mr. Josh?
Twitter and Instagram, @Yoshiro Joestar. Actually, I recently changed my Twitch to that, but I haven't been streaming. And then YouTube, Shiro Play 5.
And make sure to check out that new Yu-Gi-Oh! Series that he has on there. First 2 episodes are out now, and he'll probably do more. So make sure to check that out on the Shiro Play 5 at YouTube. And Miss Mallory?
You can find me on Instagram at awesome_Mallory, and that's about it because I don't know how to use Twitter yet.
Yeah, and the long-awaiting YouTube channel of hers will eventually launch.
It will happen. I promise. It's gonna happen this year.
You just shout racist things at each other on Twitter.
I don't know how to use Twitter. I also
and
don't
then
know any
on
of
my stuff, you can find it at ZDRocker at all the places, as well as SlimationEntertainment.com and DisconnectedCast.com. So there we go. Let's get into the news. So, also, big shout out to Mr. Brennan Williams, aka Dio Madden, appearing in our brand new commercial, which will be out by the time this episode drops. WWE superstar, all around internet personality, anime fan and gamer, all around. And so that's the interesting thing. So for the people who don't know Brennan Williams, he actually has been a huge Twitter presence among the geekdom much longer than he's been in the WWE.
Yeah.
So when the WWE was giving him a chance, he started his training a while back. When they saw his Twitter push and people were like, "Push Brendan Williams, we will love the WWE if you do this shit," and they were like, he's huge on the internet. We don't this Brendan Williams guy, whoever the fuck, let him go. And the great thing is, being the huge weeb that he is, not just is his fucking stage name Dio fucking Madden, which is hilarious, and then he just throws a fucking Dio. Is that a fucking JoJo's reference? Yes. Actually, yes. He tries to... he does commentary on WWE as well when he's not performing on NXT. And he just tries to sneak in those references sometimes, and it is so funny when he's trying to do a Street Fighter reference or a fucking or JoJo's reference, and the other co-hosts are just like, okay, and then but he'll sometimes they'll just look into the camera office style, and they're just like, yeah, he did that. So Brendan Williams, dope dude, all around awesome guy. So it's cool and it's exciting to start off 2020 with a brand new commercial. Have him on the more solemn side of things. Rest in peace, Roger Stockburger, our longtime commercial guy. He did 2 commercials for me, one for my YouTube, one for Disconnected Cast, as well as one for my K-pop meme stuff. So big.
I remember that video.
Big, yeah. And I know. I think it's fucking almost it's at 1,500 plus views now, which is great. But rest in peace to him. It was sad to recently find out about that. This Brendan Williams commercial was originally going to be a Raj commercial, but when I went to go find out and reach out to him, I noticed his stuff was all down. He hadn't made so I went to his social media to reach out to him personally, tried to see if he wanted to do one just between us on the DL. Hadn't made a post in a while, got a very sinking. My friend asked how he was doing, and I was just like, oh no, I have to check now. And I got a very sinking thing when someone doesn't post for a while, and then I reached out to his daughter who he would always show our commercials and be like, laugh and be like, oh, like, check out this stupid shit I did with these guys. And that's when I had found out that he had passed away. He lost his battle to cancer. As a cancer survivor myself from when I was younger, and I've been in remission for fucking 15 plus years now, thank goodness. And I was fortunate, but unfortunately cancer has claimed the lives of so many. And because of that, rest in peace, Roger. He was a great guy, and he was very positive all the way to the end. Like, seeing his post, I honestly was so surprised because he was getting towards the end of it. His treatment with his chemotherapy was going fantastic, and as cancer does, it can just look like it's going away and just, claim you. So that was sad to find out, but again, thanks to, I don't mean to take away from thanking Brennan, but I did want to also mention, what happened to Raj, for those who don't know. And, I made all the posts on social media because I just wanted to let everyone know we did appreciate him. And, I reached out to his daughter and also said, if she ever needs someone to talk to or whatever, we got her back because, he was, if anything. And that's the thing too. If anybody's ever in a tight spot, never feel like you don't have somebody. We've talked about that before. There's too many cases where people don't feel like they have somebody, and that's never true. There's always somebody who's willing. If you may not have someone now, there's someone you can find to talk to that will, give you the time of day. And if they won't, fuck them, man. That's not right. Yeah, exactly.
Me all the time. My friends do it, so.
Yep. So new commercial. Go check
Send an
Vatal.
email to
disconnectedcastmail@gmail.com. Once again, that's
We got
disconnectedcastmail@gmail.com. If you just want to shoot shit instead of just like yelling at me about how I'm wrong about everything.
We are not licensed.
Yeah, we're not licensed.
We don't have any clue
For
what we're
liability reasons, we are not licensed.
We know a doctor, but I mean that's about it.
But we will listen.
We'll listen.
Yeah.
I'll tell you're doing
And
a
we'll
great
say,
job because
don't do the
support is
thing.
biggest
Yeah,
thing.
don't
Maybe
do
you
the thing.
should do the thing. If it's a thing that we think you should do.
There you go.
But if it's
Support
a
is
thing,
the biggest thing.
yeah.
That's all that
But if
matters.
it's a thing you shouldn't do, you probably shouldn't do the thing. But
So Epic Games closed out the year, coming out part way through 2019. Epic Games closed out making $480 million
Fuck
in a
Epic
matter.
Games.
This is okay, and this is the problem. We're going to be talking a lot about status quo
But it's
in
a
this
stupid
episode.
Fucking minty pickaxe.
This guy.
of all the things,
I know this fucking guy.
That
out
one
of
thing.
anything,
That's
fucking
it. That's what got
pickaxe.
it.
That's the
Was
problem.
that pickaxe?
But yeah, no, we're going to talk about status quo a lot in this episode because I do have a problem with the fact that we're so accepting of the industry status quo. It's going to be, again, a main part of this. It's the same thing. I don't want to open this can of worms because we already wrapped it last time technically, but to clarify, when I was getting into it with a few people about the whole Pokemon expansion pass nonsense, my whole thing where they go, well, this is better than Ultra or Black and White 2, guess what? I didn't want that shit either. There should have never been Black and White 2.
Nope.
Sun and Moon bullshit Ultra whatever. There should just be the Pokemon game
Should just be a
said
game.
and fucking done next in a few years.
Yep.
I just don't put it's better than. That's the
You
problem.
get more
It's
content
better
that
than, you know
way.
what I mean? It's the same thing with Borderlands 3. Borderlands 3 came out. It's going to have DLC. They already announced that recently. But the one thing I will give it credit for is it didn't do shitty microtransactions. But it still has microtransactions cosmetics-wise. The problem is, that's still a problem. It's better than, once again, becomes the thing you say where it's better than selling game-breaking shit. But don't sell anything. Loot boxes. It's better than actual gambling. Is it? You know what I mean? It's one of those things where that's the problem is we just live in a society where we want to defend all too often the fact that it could be worse.
Yeah.
Obviously. But we should be striving for things to get better, not the fact that the A is less shittier than B. I think that we've just become too much of an acceptance of that. And the main topic has a lot to do with what that attitude, and I love I hate the fact that it's something we're going to be able to talk about because of the bad story we have at the end, but I'm glad because I can show these to the people who are going to be like, well, it's better than, and I'm going to be like, nope, and here is exactly why it is not good to become so accepting of the status quo just being less shittier than before.
Oh man, it's the No Man's Sky argument all over again.
Exactly. That got better, but it led to Fallout 76 and Anthem wanting the same piece of the pie to say it's gonna get better just because No Man's Sky did
It's
it.
a work
Which
in
sucks
progress.
because No Man's Sky, as I've ranted and raved this whole past year, is one of the most fun games I've played in a while. That when it first came out, I shit so much on. I was so pissed at how disappointed I was in that game, as many people were. But when I saw the change, like the 180 they did, and the love and care and support they gave after, I was just like, well, first of all, Bethesda and fucking EA is not going to give love and care to fuck all. But they did, because Hello Games is a company that just made a mistake of overpromising and then releasing too early. That's a problem. But yeah, so anyways, Epic Games, fuck them. It's crazy that they made that much, because why did we start on that tangent? I started on that because they came out half-baked as well. No shopping cart, to the point where their anti-fraud system was flagging people. Angriest Pat, Cat from Cast of Super Beast, talked about that. Jim Sterling also mentioned this story where Pat was trying to buy games on it, but since you have to buy them one at a time, Pat makes money, so he needs to play these as a content creator. Flagged his fucking account for fraud, but it wouldn't let him buy them all at once. Yeah. But then it flagged him for not buying them all at once. Are you fucking serious?
Even though, like, every other client will let you add multiple items to your shopping cart to fucking purchase in one single transaction.
It's one of the most basic things. You can go from any indie band's fucking Bandcamp all the way up to a professional store like Steam, and they all have a fucking shopping cart. How do you fuck up something that simple? I understand that they don't have a proper client. I can understand stuff like that. That takes R&D and fucking money to put into. But a fucking shopping cart does not take that much fucking effort. Because every fucking site that sells shit has one.
No, it's fucking weird. It's like
Fortnite.
It's like the fucking like developers for Epic are like just eating glue the entire time.
Yes, they are. And then on top of that, the fact that they released, let everyone not forget, they released a roadmap for their fucking store. Who does it? Like, how fucked up was that they did that? And what's even worse, they fell behind on the scheduled roadmap, as everything with a fucking roadmap does. It was why I already didn't like the Avengers game that they announced, because I thought it looked like shit, and it was so weird that they would pull. I don't care about making them look like the MCU people, but you don't pull the costumes from the MCU and then give a different face. Yeah. That's what was so fucking weird. You had Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man costume with Weirdo's face on it.
It is already a failure if you're going to make a product off a obviously very iconic franchise and you can't even fucking get like the rights to use the images of the people on there. Like there was a Terminator game by Sierra Games where they had the same fucking issue. They were like, okay, well, we want to do something with John Connor or Sarah Connor, and they were like, no, we can't give you the rights to those characters. And Sierra Games was like, well, fuck.
Yeah, and then you have weird halfway stuff like in Mortal Kombat where you have Arnie's fucking appearance, but not his fucking voice.
Yeah, not the voice.
How do you fuck that up? Why would you want Arnold Schwarzenegger in your movie or game if you don't have his fucking voice?
Yeah.
I mean, like Death Stranding?
Hey, that was just Guillermo. Everyone else was in it.
I love the game. Yeah, I'm just gonna be shitting on it forever.
I mean, I don't even fucking remember the name of Norman Reedus' character by now. I just know it's Sam
Porter.
Sam.
You mean Norman Reedus?
That is the problem with... I call Mads all the time, so it's like...
for sure.
But,
It's Daryl.
What?
Oh, God.
Daryl.
Walking Dead.
Walking Dead?
But anyways...
You mean Norman Reedus in Walking Dead.
It's his name in Boondock Saints.
Is Norman Reedus in
I'm
going to be honest. Okay. I love Boondock Saints. It's a great film. Yes. I don't watch it as often as I could. What? Did you say they're making a third one?
What I heard is that they're making a third one.
Yeah, it's called The Lighthouse.
How?
He's Willem Dafoe.
Alright, go. Anyways.
Okay, he wasn't... Okay, bruh. I don't even think he was in part 2.
No, he's not.
So Epic Games...
Anyways, I don't even remember his name in
$1 million. And, next thing, Horizon Zero Dawn is going to be coming to PC, which is really cool for those who want to play it on PC. Although,
on that,
if I can just play it on PS4. Oh, yeah. Oh, what's up? Go ahead.
It's a great game. Shut up.
No, I love it. It's my favorite. I'm playing. I'm
Get on
beating.
it.
Go.
No, I would never shit on Horizon. I'm beating Frozen Wilds right now.
Bueno.
I'm almost close to 100% of the game.
Nice.
Yep.
That's something that I should probably work towards, but
Kidding.
I get busy with other shit.
I get that a lot.
Damn.
Anyway.
I can't believe you would do that.
It's another case where it does open up the
So anyway.
potential for games to come out that are console exclusive to PC.
Yes.
Bloodborne's probably still far from the cards, but I think a
I want it.
Bloodborne
That would be-
PC port
fuck, a
with
PC
a
port
higher
Bloodborne.
frame rate, 4K,
Yeah.
4K at a higher frame rate.
Jesus.
Would be great.
Oh my
because
God, yeah.
everyone's biggest complaint about Bloodborne was the fact that the frame rate was capped. And not even capped to a good frame rate.
Yeah.
Capped to fucking 30, which is bullshit. And, by the way, also had dips depending on what part you're in it, which is a shame.
Oh
'Cause
yeah,
at least when
dude.
something's
There's
at
certain
60,
maps.
Oh
where
god,
it
it just
fucking
eats. What's the
yeah.
main map where, like, it just gets really busy and,
I don't remember the name. Oh, actually, wait.
it's like the first map where, like, there's actually shit going on. Because in the first couple of, like, in the first map, there's, like, nothing going on.
I know there's a few frame drops, but it's not as bad as later on when you go to, I think it's like, Carnal Lane, like Witch's Carnal Lane or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
There is, for some fucking reason, I don't know what fucking triggers it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they might have patched it by now, but I remember there was one spot where if you jump off like one of the elevated areas and you do a plunging attack, the frames will drop exponentially to the part where to the point where the audio will stutter when you do it. So
That's awful.
Yeah.
That's like an old video game.
Hemwick.
It's like playing a video game on an old PC that couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
That kind of problem.
Yeah, it was Hemwick Carnal Lane was the name of the map.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know if they patched it since.
But it was
I
really
haven't
bad.
played it in a while. But yeah, that was definitely a thing. Like, and it was to the point where I would do a plunging attack, it would stutter, and I was like, "What the fuck?" I'd go around, do it again, it would keep doing it.
And,
So
and
it
here's
was
the crazy
at that
thing.
specific point.
And I just want to say this before I lose the point. But when you have a game at 60 frames and it drops a little bit, 55, even 40, like I was playing Yakuza 0
still
on my
fine.
laptop, which wasn't even that powerful. It's better than your average laptop. It has a fucking, Ryzen fucking chips and everything. But it's not a gaming centralized computer, right? But it was still running Yakuza at about 40, 45 frames per second, no problem. That looks already so much better than fucking 30 frames. It's crazy. So if you have a game that's targeted 60 frames, even if it's not locked, and it dips to 50, or in my experience, even 45 FPS, it still looks so good. Why the fuck are we still not running the thing where we're trying to at least target 60? Because if you're targeting, we're already targeting 30 and failing on console. So why not target 60? And then if it does happen to drop a little bit, it's like when they overclock the Switch and
you have
ran
like
Witcher
a
on like
higher
60,
margin
you
of
can.
error.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
during that rant, I just thought to my head, what if they were to fucking port? Now, this game fucking sucks.
yeah, go ahead.
But what if they were to port The Order, I forget the fucking year, but to PC with
1886.
uncapped frame rate? It would probably look pretty good.
That's the
wow.
thing. It's still a gorgeous game.
Yeah, that's the thing.
It's just a
It
bunch of
looks
nothing.
really good,
Yeah.
but the
Great
game.
medieval, like
It's
18th
like
century.
yeah,
setting.
it's
18th
like
century.
like the cusp, like the end of the Victorian era.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Industrial
So late
Revolution.
1800s.
Yeah, because I mean, the thing with that game,
The do not
the
pre-order.
gameplay is nothing new. It's fucking Gears. The story kind of sucks.
No, because
but-
even when Gears jarringly stopped the whole movement, it wasn't that bad.
right, but I mean, it plays like
terrible
Gears.
game.
You know,
Yeah, it's
it
the over
plays
the,
exactly
it's
like
the
Gears.
close over shoulder cam. I know what you mean.
Yeah, but visually, the game looks pretty damn good.
Yeah, no, it looks
Gorgeous,
fantastic.
yeah.
Yeah, everything else fucking
Especially
sucks about
considering
it.
how early it came out in the gen.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
looked very good.
What
Yeah.
else have they done? Who made that?
I don't
Yeah,
know,
it was a
fucking
small
know.
studio. They didn't really do
Yeah.
much, and I think that was the big
And they
problem.
never will.
No, I don't think
feel
that's
like
the case.
that
They
game-
they did do a few things. Go ahead and talk because I do
No,
want to
I really feel like that game was really just a fucking tech demo for the PS4. Like, what they should have done is they should have released the PS4 with that game included. I do not think that game deserves to be bought.
It really doesn't, which is a shame
Yeah.
because
we
cool
red boxed it.
yeah, we red boxed
We
it.
red boxed it. I
And
think
we were
when we
each
did
able
the,
to beat it once in the matter of like 2 days.
Yeah,
We just
I
played it
think
each.
I think when we did the math, we
It's
probably
what,
paid
like
about
$7
$6
of
each.
gameplay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
About. It's 6 or 7, depending on how fast you are.
6 to
reading.
8. Yeah, it's a very short game.
No, I played
The
it. It's
narrative
not difficult,
fucking sucks.
Yeah.
But
To
it's
give
very
a real
pretty.
quick rundown of what these devs have done before, they did Daxter. They did mostly PSP games as well, which is why they may have had a bit, and I'm being serious when I say this, a bit of translation, because developing for the different systems is very different, especially if you go. So considering the fact they went from PSP straight to The Order is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
But they did work on Chains of Olympus and Ghost of Sparta for the God of War PSP games.
Those are good.
Yeah, they are good. And then they
For the
went to
PSP.
The Order after that was one of their first attempts at a proper console game. So to be fair, that's like, I get it.
Yeah. Getting back on the topic.
Yeah.
What I was going to say is I think it's smart that Sony's releasing Horizon for PC if it's the only thing they do. If that's the only console exclusive they release, that's the perfect bait, because it's a great game. It's a fantastic
Right,
game.
to pull you to see, well, this PS4 game's this good.
Yeah.
What else do they got?
Like, I don't think putting Last of Us on PC would be smart. I would love that. That would be great, but you got to keep stuff in your wheelhouse.
You do.
I think it's good bait.
Either that,
It's not
or
Scalebound, where Microsoft is just like, no, we're not going to make this great
well,
game ever.
either that, or you go all in and you do what Microsoft did, which is make almost all your exclusive titles available on PC as well, not on PlayStation,
No.
but on PC as well.
See, I like that. I do. Because I think this is the inevitable conclusion of what the Xbox was meant to be.
Yeah, which is a PC.
Yeah, a PC.
Because even from the first Xbox, the reason it was called the Xbox is DirectX, which is originally the stuff that runs on the PCs and makes them really good. So, ergo, it was almost fated to be a PC.
Yeah. I like the Xbox Sex.
Yeah, I know. It's funny that they go from the Xbone Sad to the Xbox Sex, which is hilarious.
Well,
and
that's what
they
usually
just don't know
happens.
how to name worth a damn, but that's what it is.
They should've just
that's,
kept
you know-
Xbox Scarlet. Like, I would have.
Well, Scarlet and then Scorpio before that, it was just
Yeah.
always good naming conventions when it's the temporary ones,
Just leave
and
them
then
alone.
really bad when they
Just
change it
let
out
it be.
otherwise.
Xbox Scarlet.
That's how you know the tech is good, because they're shitty at naming it, but the internals work.
Yeah. Everyone's doing a piss break.
We're
Doing
doing
a
a
shuffle.
Yeah, the seals have been broken.
You owe me a Coke.
So what other
Jinx, you owe me a call.
any other console exclusives that you would like to see a PC port of? We obviously knocked down the door of fucking Bloodborne, and then John talked about Last of Us as well, potentially being a
I think
thing.
Last of Us would be a good one, only because it's fucking narrative.
Yep.
I'm trying to think of some PS4 exclusives that are not fighting games that would be a good port.
Is Persona on PC yet?
Oh, I don't think it is. So that would probably
That'd be cool.
If it's not already, that would be a good one. I think the world needs to experience more Persona.
Yeah, I think that tying it to a console is one of the few things. I just love the big bang that Persona 5 brought to the franchise, because that was like The Witcher 3. It was like their version of The Witcher 3, in which this was a lot of people's first Persona game, and I love it because that game definitely deserves all the love, especially for the soundtrack and the visuals. Holy fuck! I would say best looking menu system ever.
Yeah.
Holy shit! What's that? Persona
Little
5.
Big
They
Planet
they
isn't on
really
PC yet,
need
right?
to make a Switch port of that
I
at
wish
the
they would.
least.
It's only on PlayStation.
It's okay, Mallory. Talk over Josh while he's making his point.
Oh my god.
God damn, this is
God
why
damn
we
it.
don't want the matriarchy to take place. I'm just kidding.
Like
Fuck
they're
the
never-
patriarchy. Fuck the matriarchy. Also,
Just
so
asking a
everything.
that would just be
question.
the other way around.
Support the oligarchy.
Oh, what?
Support the Olive Garden.
Anyways,
Their breadsticks
I would
are amazing.
no, they're okay.
Don't worry,
so
Mallory. Just
far.
keep talking over Josh while he's trying to make a point. It doesn't matter. We're not
You
doing a
can get better
podcast.
breadsticks. At the least, if they don't put Persona 5 to the
Holy fuck, I'm
PC,
gonna kill myself.
they should fucking port it to Switch. They should.
Agreed.
Every time we keep thinking, oh my god, are they gonna announce a Switch port? Nah, it's just a fucking Muso game.
Yeah.
Alright, that's cool. I mean, I'll probably play it anyways,
I
but
will.
they really should make a Switch
Yeah,
port.
I'm really surprised that wasn't the announcement. Was Persona 5 for the Switch, because it
Yeah.
really should be. All right. Well, since we're talking about Switch, let's go ahead and get into that. So, more Switch news. Capcom did confirm that the style switch assumptions and leaks taken from the screenshots for DMC3 is true, and style switching is going to be introduced to the Switch version, which to the dismay of all the fucking neckbeards, is causing a big fucking stink that, now I gotta play the best version on Switch.
I mean,
fuck you.
Yeah, like, quality of life,
game.
I agree with that. Is there an option to toggle it on or off?
That they just talked about it being in there, and they showed footage of how it's
would
gonna work.
vouch that they should make it a setting.
Okay. Oh, so you can experience the game as OG.
Yeah.
I would say that
should be fine. At the least,
even if they default it on, it should be able to toggle.
I mean, RE does it.
Okay, if they default it on, I don't fucking give a fuck. I play that shit day 1.
Yeah.
Actually, correction, day 7 because my PlayStation 2 broke when I bought it.
That sucks.
But you know,
yeah. No, but cool that they're adding it. It's one of the things that almost makes that game a little archaic, especially if you played the later fucking DMC games. So the fact that they're bringing that in there, it's a huge quality of life improvement. Absolutely. So that's going to be exciting that they actually confirmed it, even though at that point it was all but said, basically, because everyone just knew it made sense. Metro Redux is also coming to Switch. John and I talked about the rumors of that back in fucking like Feb of last year, that there was rumors of that, like a leak rumor of that is going to be coming. It has been confirmed and will be coming out next month. So really cool. If you guys have not played Metro 2033 or Last Light, that is a cool way to play it on the go, of course. Assuming, of course, it does run at a good frame rate and everything. I'm always wary. Ports sometimes. Most of the ports have been good. Yeah. Witcher 3 has shown how it's done well. Mortal Kombat, not so much. That port sucks ass.
Still plays well.
It plays well at 60 because everything else is running at 480p resolution.
I love that claymation.
Was it that bad?
That's not really.
No,
okay.
Hyperbole. Hyperbole. Okay.
The problem is the inconsistencies because there is resolution scaling, and a lot of times it will be a 720p background with like 560 to 480p sprites on there.
Yeah. It's super muddy.
It's really muddy looking. The background and the background being high resolution makes it more noticeable.
Yeah.
You see how blurry the people are, but the background looks amazing.
Question, are there any stages... I'm trying to think... I honestly can't think of any stages that are not resource demanding. Oh, fuck! I can't think of any stages in Mortal Kombat 11 that are not demanding of resources. Because, like, in Street Fighter 5, like, Street Fighter in general, they have, like, the really bland training stage.
Right.
I don't know.
The frame rate dimension.
Yeah. I don't know if MK11 has anything like that. Otherwise, I was going to ask, like, are there any stages that probably perform better?
The frame rate is pretty bang on trying to stay at 60. I appreciate the fact that NetherRealm did understand how important it was that it run at 60, but I really don't think that the port was worth the sacrifice. Whereas The Witcher 3 did, and I'm going to try to keep it short on Witcher 3 because I fucking talk about that port all the time, but they do a good job of sacrificing just the right things. The fact that the rain and everything and all the weather is still in there intact and really like well done, the wind moving the fucking grass and everything, and the fact that all the content, including the expansions, is in there on one cartridge, which also Metro Redux is confirmed also to be on one cartridge. They're able to fit a lot of things on that fucking like 30 gig card.
3 of them?
No.
Oh, just 1 and 2.
Just 1 and 2. 3 probably eventually. Like what they're doing with DMC, I feel like they're doing a litmus strip test with this Metro thing, and if those do good, I'm sure they'll port that one.
I just want DMC 2.
What?
Well, it's already out, but okay.
Get the fuck out of here.
So we talked about how bad Iceborne on the PC was. Just a little bit of an update of how bad it was. So we talked about the save glitch bug. Here's the specifics on that. What it would happen is, first of all, one of the worst things you can do is inconsistency. This was only happening to some people. Basically, some people's save files were not being read properly when Iceborne dropped, which would show a blank save slots. If you hit continue, it overrode your save slot that did have technically something there with now the new blank data. Then, if you were connected to the internet, backing out of that would trigger the autosave and auto cloud update, which would then shoot it to the cloud, which would then erase your backup on the cloud, then draw that back to the system, which would therefore eliminate your, I believe the average person, Monster Hunter players' times was ranging between 80 to 150 hours. So all that into the sky. They say they're trying to fix it, but the problem is fixing it will not bring back data. It will only prevent it further from happening. So that was a problem, right? Well, Angry as Pat, again, Forgot the Super Beast, as well as a few other players, announced that it wasn't just that. The resource problem is there is like an ingrown anti-cheat and an external anti-cheat that are like running at the same time, which proven runs, the performance already runs bad. It became so resource hogging this game because resource distribution when the game first launched, Monster Hunter World on PC was already a problem. There were a lot of frame rate issues. The thing just being a resource hog, it was running like 10 instances of like pulling the same amount of like RAM from your computer and just doing all sorts of dumb bullshit that was making the game run bad. It was to the point where it was turning off half the lights in Pat's room when he was trying to play Monster Hunter Iceborne.
What the fuck?
It was pulling so much bullshit, it was fucking causing a problem.
Wow.
And other people did report this being a problem as well, where it was just fucking with their lights. So, yeah. Iceborne, pretty fucking broken to the point where it's fucking with your IRL stuff. It's absurd. The fact that it's that broken. The team...
It's not even Eternal Darkness on GameCube.
Right? How crazy would that have been? So Eternal Darkness, for those who don't know, is a fantastic horror game that did shit like fuck with you mentally, like showing that it was erasing your save file and shit like that, but it didn't really.
Turning your TV
off,
Yeah.
showing a blank screen, and then all of a sudden showing something in there to see. So it was so good that they would do stuff like that. This not so much because this is just really fucking up stuff. Now,
terrible.
not that it's a good
Unintentional
excuse for
fuckery.
it, but the explanation for why the online is so bad on it, it's a little weird. It's one of those resource distribution in terms of manpower that's being done kind of weird. So Monster Hunter World is like, again, as I mentioned, date to now, like the best-selling Capcom game in terms of units to time that it's existed. Because obviously overall I think it's Street Fighter 2 is the best-selling Capcom game. But anyways, the problem is all the actual good online people are working on DMC and Resident Evil 2 Remake for their online shit on PC. So there was like nobody left, but those who don't really know how to do it for the Monster Hunter people were the only ones left. Which is a bit funny, right? Because doesn't it seem like Monster Hunter World needs more online shit than DMC5 or fucking Resident Evil 2 Remake?
Yeah.
It's a weird sense of distribution of their resources. I feel like all hands on deck should be a fucking Monster Hunter World.
I haven't played Resident Evil 2 Remake, so I can't commentate on that, but in regards to Devil May Cry 5, the online doesn't even really matter.
Yeah.
Because it's just...
Whereas in fucking Monster Hunter World, it's the whole fucking
it's the whole fucking game! It's the whole fucking game!
Is playing online.
Priorities, Capcom, please.
Yeah, so again, Capcom slowly starting to become Godcom again, especially if they can actually make a Cap God, rather, if they can fix Street Fighter in the next one. Because that's the only real franchise that's really fucked up still.
A rando fixed it for them.
Right? How fucked up is that? That's so crazy. But,
yeah. God. I wonder if Wooly's prediction might happen where they patch out the fix.
That'd be hilarious. I could see that being a thing. They would do that. Capcom is that vain. They really are. But they're starting to get better. It's just that Street Fighter and then the way they're handling Iceborne's PC stuff is both awful still. They're still showing they're a little bit behind in terms of planning and thinking. But.
Like, I got my issues with Street Fighter 5, but the main thing is fucking fix the netcode, man. It's like, if you can fucking if you can better your ability for online play, you're golden. Because I fucking hate it. This is a huge pet peeve. I fucking hate it when people in the FGC are like, well, don't play online, man. Play offline. Go to your locals. Some people don't fucking have the luxury or the privilege to do that.
That was the whole thing that Pat fell for. It's apparently an old thing in the FGC, but the joke that because GGPO is like this like great like netcoding that everyone wants to use in all their fighting games, and there was a fake tweet talking about how Guilty Gear was going to be running on GGPO, but then when Pat read the tweet, it was to fucking go fucking play Guilty Gear offline. But then he was really disappointed because he was really hyped that Guilty Gear was going to have GGPO, but. Yeah, no, it's just a shame because stuff like that, like you said, not everybody gets to go to locals or has a good local. Imagine if you love Street Fighter and your only real thing, or online games in general, and your only real thing is online because you live in the fucking boonies and like there is no nearby place to go play at.
For sure, man. Like, there's a Street Fighter scene here, but most of them can fuck off.
Yeah.
So, I go online to play some Street Fighter, and I'm rubber banding all over the place. Guess what? I'm not fucking
Especially the way the
time.
fucking rollback runs in fucking Street Fighter is really weird.
Oh, yeah. I kind of personally wish I could filter it so that I don't have to ever fuck with anybody playing on a Wi-Fi connection.
You know how Maximilian dude gets around that, right? His fucking router.
Yeah,
that literally will not fucking matchmake him with anyone with shit internet.
But that's one expensive router.
It is because it's badass.
Yeah, not everybody can afford that fucking router.
Yep, exactly.
So.
And that's the thing. The whole thing is acting as if everybody can just do this.
Yeah, but another thing is the principle of the fact. One person went into the fucking netcode and said, hey, I found the fucking problem. 2 days later, he fixed it.
Yeah.
And then Street Fighter V has been out for, 4 or 5 years now?
Yeah.
And Capcom hasn't fucking done a thing to fix it?
Hell no.
Like, in the words of Lemonhead, unacceptable!
Yeah, basically.
That's really all I can think of. It's fucking bullshit.
Yep.
So, it's insane that, a fan can fucking fix it when the actual company can't. It's like they want to be Bethesda or some shit.
Yeah, no kidding.
I can only hope Street Fighter 6 is gonna be a lot better, more polished, and tighter game than fucking Street Fighter 5 was. Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of tightening up stuff, River City Girls on PC did get an update recently. Better stage transitions and loading times for that. They're looking to bring that to the console versions soon, but people seem to be liking that update on PC, which is good. Humble Bundle is running I'm going to double check to make sure it'll still be running when this fucking episode goes up. Anyways, there's $25. It's an Australian Fire Relief bundle that they put up, but it's fucking 29 fucking badass games for $25.
Ooh.
Like, it's crazy.
That's less than $1 per game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
To go, so you'd have to get it before Jan 3rd. So when this goes up, you'll still have a couple of days to go ahead and get on that.
By Jan 3rd?
Totally, 23rd.
Oh.
Did the fires happen on Jan 3rd?
Yeah.
Well, no. Well, I don't know.
No, anyways, I'm just joking.
But
And-
it sounded like you said
to be
Jan
fair,
3rd.
I almost thought I heard January 3rd too.
yeah.
That's why I was checking.
So I'll make sure to increase
I
the
got your
volume.
back this time.
Don't worry, I'll just edit it on the fucking episode how ear rape loudness, how clearly I said the 23rd, but that's fine. Thank you, John. The full list of games included is Hollow Knight, Void Bastards, Duck Game, Hand of Fate 2, Crawl. I'm just reading the good ones, so I'm skipping quite a few, but they're all but those already would have already made up for it. And then a bunch of other bullshit. Oh, Machinarium's on there too, which is an old game, but whatever. So definitely pick that up. It's, again, going for a good cause, and the fact that you get a bunch of badass games for like 75 cents each is fucking crazy. Like, you really cannot beat that.
I'm still waiting for the epic crossover that will be Untitled Duck versus Goose Game.
Well, that could be a thing, because it's indie devs, so who fucking knows.
You heard it here first.
I'm excited for this upcoming week. There's going to be a new game coming out by Arc System Works called Code Shifter. I'm very excited for that because not just is it a platformer with some interesting mechanics with an emphasis on like computers and hacking and stuff, but it's also going to bring in a character from a very obscure game that I enjoyed and talked about quite a bit last year, which was JJ Macfield from JJ Macfield, long ass fucking title by game by Swery of Deadly Premonition and fucking D4 fame. So. That's really exciting that she's going to be in there because I'm very excited. She was a cool character. What an amazing game, because the JJ Macfield game is really awesome in the sense that it was a really good narrative on fucking an amazing trans character and everything, and just the way they handled that was very well. So, especially in Swery's past, he wasn't very good at that and was a bit insensitive to some people, but Swery showed that he wanted to learn. He consulted people within that community to make sure he didn't fuck up the representation in a game in which the narrative is a whole dark story about this person and their life as a trans character. So, it was really cool.
And that's the important part.
Is that he made an effort.
Yeah.
You always have bullshit people like Todd Howard who always say they want to learn shit and then don't give a fuck about learning anything.
Yeah. You don't listen to any feedback from the
Randy Pitchford,
from the actual people.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Alright. So, let's get into the main topic before we do. Make sure If you have any questions or feedback or comments or want to tell us how wrong we are, you can hit us up at disconnectedcastmail@gmail.com. Once again, that's disconnectedcastmail@gmail.com. So, first part of the story is delays. So we were hit with a few delays. One of them was the Avengers game no one gives a fuck about. So who cares about when that comes out? Because hopefully it just gets canceled. Because that's another thing I never wrapped up my point on that, is when they announced roadmap is when I gave up. I was already, the visuals and everything was so shitty and whatever, I could have got over that if the game was good. They did a faux trailer with like fake in-game footage, which is totally all bullshitted. There's no real in-game footage of that game.
It was just like pre-rendered.
It's all pre-rendered nonsense.
Yeah.
And then on top of that,
Typical
then they
West
said, it's also going to be on a roadmap. It's just like, fuck that. When they said that, bullshit, it's all going to be on a season pass roadmap, I'm like, I'm out. I'm already out. I'm already halfway out the door. I just closed the door behind me at that point. So fuck that game. But one of the games that's going to be getting delayed, to first announce it, was Final Fantasy VII Remake. Is being delayed from March to April 10th.
Yep.
So not that big of a deal. The second thing that was delayed, and delayed by a shitload more time, is Cyberpunk being pushed from next month all the way down to September 17th.
You didn't know that?
So
it was a pretty big
go.
delay.
CD Projekt Red did confirm there are not going to be PS5 or Xbox X versions of Cyberpunk. It will just be current gen and PC. So there is that. The unfortunate other thing they mentioned, and why I'm bringing up this main topic, is that they said that this, of course, the delay is going to cause an incredible, well, they said little, but I know how that really meant, ton of crunch on their team. And here's the biggest problem. So, Jason Schreier recently put out an article of a fantastic article covering this, which I will link below, because this is what made me want to talk about this as the main topic. Is we live in a current time where everyone in the games community, when they hear a game's getting delayed, we're guilty of this too. We've all said this, and I've said this many times, where I go, oh good, I'd rather it come out fine than come out early, which is true. But what people don't know is that when a game does get delayed for this shit, it causes overtime. Because what happens is the game couldn't come out on time, which means they already didn't meet payroll to the amount of time they wanted to be paying these people, because people who make games, especially in America, are all contracted. We learned this, and we went to that panel at the original at the very inaugural PAX South, where they talked about everyone is mercenaries and on contracts. So you don't just work for EA and then you hop from Battlefront to Fallen Order to whatever. You work on a game, you're technically jobless, and hope and apply for the next game you want to be a part of, whether it is Ubisoft, EA, or whatever, and you hope that you get that next job. You're not just a game dev.
It's a horrible industry.
Because of that, since these people are now running on overtime, in the States, because there are no labor laws against it, that extra stretch. So, Cyberpunk was supposed to drop in late Feb or early March or whatever, or mid-March or whatever. That period from March to September, they're not getting anything extra for that shit. They're running that $50,000, $60,000 contract, whatever it was. That's still their pay, and now they're working this many months more where their contract's technically over.
And that's a huge leap, too. Yeah. Now, I didn't check out that article, but I did see on Twitter someone was posting that not only are they on crunch, but they're possibly on a death march.
Yes. Because the studio... Well, it's what happened with the Death March. On parallel to this, the Sonic... The team that redid the Sonic graphics. And I think, allegedly, I still haven't looked into it, apparently did the Detective Pikachu graphics. They're all jobless now. Because the fix/crunch period put them on the out, because now that became way too much money to keep them viable, so they closed them down. And that's something that's very likely to come with this. Now, CD Projekt Red, because of the labor laws there, do have to pay their devs overtime, so they are going to be properly compensated for that. But if this had been an American studio like Rockstar or something, Rockstar, of course, is notorious for that crunch, or BioWare with BioWare Magic, as they call it, they don't get any more pay. That's it. You're now told, John, you're going to work another X months. You're not getting paid fuck all for that, though, buddy. You're like... $15 an hour has now diminished to fucking $10 an hour.
You signed a contract for this amount, and guess what? That's the amount you're gonna get, buddy boy.
Yep.
Cool, checks in the bank, bye.
Yeah.
Yep, it sucks,
Deuces.
man. And that's a problem, too. People have talked about those people who do that, but now you fuck the, like, people that end up staying, and it causes this toxic work environment where you're, you know, people do get caught in a moral quandary where they end up staying and be miserable, or leave and fuck over the entire team that is, like, you guys were working together on this.
Yeah.
So that is a thing that people have said that they've had to balance in their thing where they're like, yeah, I could just leave. Because I've already made my money. And then not to mention, you also run the fact that as someone who put all their eggs in the basket of being a game dev, you're not going to be a game dev anymore, though, if you do that, too. Because nobody's going to hire a cut and runner. You know what I'm saying? Yes, you cut and run because it sucked. But no, everyone else knowing that may need you for that.
Such bad work ethic.
Yep, exactly. That's how they'll see it. And that's what it is. So yeah, that's the thing that people do not realize is that problem that this will cause.
Yeah.
Yes, the game will probably be a bit more polished by the time it comes out, but it's the back end bullshit that you don't see. And to be fair, a lot of people don't know is being caused by this inadvertently. Yeah. Unfortunately, a lot of people in my timeline are just going to not give a fuck, and they'll be like, oh, I can't wait for Cyberpunk! Which is still probably going to be a good game.
Yeah.
But the problem is the ails of what this is causing, they're just going to ignore it because, oh well. It's like when I was making a big stink about the expansion thing, and then the only response was, well, at least it's not Sword and Shield 2. And I'm like, okay, well, that was a problem too, though. So, you're not telling me anything. All you're saying is I don't have a counter-argument.
At least they're not making microtransactions.
Yeah, well, not yet.
Let's see how the Pokebank goes.
The Pokebank.
Yeah, which is technically already a microservice. But, yeah. One thing I will say, though, it's kind of funny, right, with Final Fantasy VII getting delayed, that we were talking about Persona 5 Royale for having the balls to fucking... or not Royale, excuse me, Persona 5. Oh yeah, it is Royale. Yeah,
it's Royale.
For saying that they will not move the date, even though they know that FF7 comes out at the same time.
Yeah,
and then FF7's the one who ends up moving. It's kind of funny. Obviously, it's not for and it's not as big of a fucking deal as fucking Cyberpunk.
Meanwhile, Atlas is looking at Square Enix and saying, "Weird flex, but okay."
yeah, exactly. So. With that being said, I do just want the closing thoughts and points on is delaying a game at this... So what would you rather take now, right? Do you take an unpolished game, but everybody gets their fair dues on the way out, and then is at least contracted on to maybe stay and fix the game because that's now a new job? Mm-hmm. Or do you want the game to be delayed, come out a bit more polished, now knowing the problems that this does cause on the staff?
Well, I mean, I kind of feel like that's a bit of a tricked question.
It is, except that there are some people who are still going to say they'd rather take the delayed game.
So I would take the delayed game knowing that the fucking workers are being compensated appropriately. Yeah. I would wait 1 or 2 more years for Cyberpunk knowing that the game devs are not going to get fucked over.
Yeah, but given the current state of the industry where that's not the case, that's perfect world, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, there's no satisfied answer because nobody wants a fucking busted-ass game.
Yep.
You know?
I know. It just sucks that that's where we're at now. Mm-hmm. Is the fact that it's a fucking rock in a hard place.
Yeah.
It's bullshit.
Yeah, so... Yeah. That's my answer. I refuse to answer your loaded question. Your tricked question, sir! So, yeah, I mean, that's really the only thing I can really say. I don't, I don't have, like, a proper answer for the way you framed it, but... Yeah, that would be my ideal options. Like, give these game devs the rights and protections that they deserve because they're putting in labor.
Well, yeah, I know. But the point of the question was in the real world. I mean, obviously that would be my answer too. Yeah. That would be anybody's answer really, unless they're an asshole. So that's why I asked it in the same way that I did. In my sense, I would take the busted game then, because I would rather take a busted game that will be patched, assuming it will be patched on a new contract, than one that they'll work on an old contract and get fucked.
But then, like, the problem with that is then that's just going to excuse, like, the shit that Bethesda might probably be doing.
Well, it is, but it would if it's done maliciously. But I'm talking about a studio like Project Red, which known will only do like that if it's necessary.
Right, but then if that starts becoming the norm, then...
Yeah. So, yeah, exactly. So my whole thing is I'd rather that then, given the circumstances, I'd rather that than... because I'm choosing from 2 hard options, I'd rather take that. Yeah, I'll take a busted game and have everyone compensated properly, and just have it fixed later than take them getting fucked, to pay it forward.
So I guess my question is why, in order to make this decision would be why is it being delayed? Is it just that it doesn't work yet, or is it the fact that they overplay, they didn't plan?
Okay, so basically, is the game 90% done, or is it 50% done?
Because if
it's already almost done,
you might as well just put it out and then re-sign contracts, because at that point you have to go in and actually look at how long. You were promised 50,000 for this amount of money for this period. But then you have to go in and look at it, and if it goes over that period, did it have that stipulation? Were you promised just that, or did you know that,
Well, the problem is the backdoor in a lot of these contracts is that you'll work till the project's done.
Yeah. Right. So, you could argue it both ways, but, if it's 90% done and it's just, a few things are janky, then go ahead and put the game out and re-sign those contracts. Now, if it's hey...
And the reason they like to do it that way, to be clear for people, is the fact that if they only need a staff of 20 and only need 5 to do the final fixes, that's why they want to do it that way.
Yeah.
But if it's hey, literally performance didn't happen during this period, what... Why?
And the sad thing is, too...
But I don't want them to go through crunch. I would hate to know that they're working 72 to whatever hours, and they're not getting paid for that.
The bar is usually 80 to 100.
Yeah, so. That is ridiculous for any human being. And mental status at that point, because you're just on edge the entire time. But if it's 90% done and you're just tweaking a few things, go ahead and just put it out. I've played janky games... And then we've gotten patches for them, so I'm not even going to be mad.
Yeah, from what I recall of the official statement, I don't have it in front of me, obviously. But for our listeners, I don't have it. They can obviously say I don't. They did say that the game plays fine, but there are certain things that weren't working properly, so they are trying to fix certain bugs and issues within it.
And the problem is, too, going on with that, is that they're also under a different bar now, because The Witcher 3 came out kind of busted and broken. Now that The Witcher 3 is so much better, and then with all the anticipation for Cyberpunk, and they're kind of known they're going to get teased for having Witcher-style glitches in Cyberpunk, they're trying to avoid that now, and who knows if that's all it is. It could just be a little bit of coat of polish.
Exactly. And, I'm not a game dev, so I can't give any type of insight on that. I would see that from the statement, it seems worrying that they're delaying it, 7 months out. However, these games, if it's anything like The Witcher 3, it's going to be super expansive.
Yep.
So that's probably a fuck ton of code that they're probably going to have to go through and everything. Yeah, so... But that was their statement, that it works, but there's certain things that they've noticed that they're not satisfied with.
And again, in terms of CD Projekt Red, they all getting paid overtime.
Oh, they are getting paid over.
Yeah, that's what I just said, is that in America, they're not.
Oh.
Because in America, fuck working friends.
Yeah, so, Mr. John?
They're being compensated, fuck it.
If they're being compensated, fuck it, okay. I mean, you could go that route, too.
To extrapolate.
Yeah.
I think every job is shitty. And they have people that will take advantage of you in order to accomplish whatever goals set forth. If you are a serious game developer, then you've probably taken a lot of time to look into it and understand what you're getting into. So you have to be prepared for working non-compensated, and that these contracts are bullshit. So if you cut and run, that's fine, but just be prepared for those consequences. But I don't think people should work without being compensated.
No.
Yep. Yeah. In the end,
Elon Musk.
In the end, it really is a shame that it just comes down to the fact that there is no realistic solution. There is a solution. It's really easy. You pay the workers for what they work.
Yeah, eat the rich.
But unfortunately, with that being the case, they're not going to do that, because then that just cuts from the top, who are the people that are collecting the cream, because everybody else has already worked for it. So, it sucks. And then on top of everything, the people making the calls are so far removed from the floor, it's insane. The people we're talking about that are getting crunched have nothing to do with the people who are making the decisions to crunch them, which is insane. But yeah, video games, the industry, and all that good stuff. All right, then. Anything else? That's good. I think we beat that dead horse. Until the next episode, we will catch you guys every Monday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. And, well, we were going to announce the guest, but Mallory still doesn't know, so maybe...
I'm still working on that.
There might be a guest next week. There wasn't obviously this week.
So.
We have John from Reconnected. That's the thing.
That's gonna be part of the surprise.
Yep, so, yep. Until then, see ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Have a good week.